Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over.
Just in time for the upcoming midterm elections, Joe Biden declaring the pandemic's over. Though throughout the China virus crisis, the Democrat Party has used this pandemic as an excuse to force mandates and further burden the American taxpayers with their radical spending agenda. Joining me now to weigh in on this and so much more is founder and co-chair of Students for Trump, Ryan Fournier. Great to see you, Ryan. Biden's student loan forgiveness program is estimated to cost, what, $600 billion over a decade? Biden's justification for this socialism is the pandemic. But now that the pandemic's over, what's his excuse?
Right. Yeah. Come on, man. As Biden would say, this is just all ridiculous. When you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, there is no long-term good to reduce inflation that's going to come from that at this point because of this $500+ trillion. I mean, we don't even know the cost of it. Sort of executive amendment, unconstitutional, sort of way of doing things. It's gaslighting, it's virtue signaling to people that it sounds good to, essentially, right? When I look at the real issue here, the real issue is not paying off student loan debt. The real issue is the rising cost of college tuition, while also, on the other hand, the decreasing value of a college diploma. That's the real problem in this country.
True enough, true enough. And as a matter of fact, as you just alluded to, the free government giveaway is going to cause tuition costs to skyrocket. It's also going to add to, as you alluded to, crippling inflation. Here's Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell warning that it's only going to get worse from here. Take a listen.
No one knows whether this process will lead to a recession, or if so, how significant that recession would be. The chances of a soft landing are likely to diminish to the extent that policy needs to be more restrictive or restrictive for longer.
Yeah, first off, that's idiocy. We're already in a recession. It's just going to deepen this recession. This is what happens when politics trumps policy, which defines the Democrat Party that's in charge, yes?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, look back to the Trump years where, Trump, the Dow had 126 all-time highs. Meanwhile, last week, Biden and whoever is running the White House, we lost $1.6 trillion on the stock market. When Trump gave Biden this economy, we had 1.6% inflation, 6% GDP growth. Now looking at the economy, over 8% with inflation, we're failing as a country. All signs on the wall are clear. The writing is clear. We are in a recession. We've had consecutive losses on GDP growth. Look at the unemployment numbers. Look at the price of gas, which they're, falsely saying is, the prices are getting lowered only because they're depleting our strategic oil reserves. Look at electricity prices. Okay. Look at, I don't know if you saw this story as well, where retailers have been canceling billions of dollars in orders, inventory restock orders, ahead of a major holiday season. You do not see this. Everybody is preparing for the worst. I know they said during COVID it was going to be a dark winter last year. Economically, this is going to be a very, very dark winter for most Americans.
Well, it's transitory, we were told, for a long, long time. Look, I've only got about a minute and a half. Let's get to the growing attacks on conservatives and Trump supporters from the loving and tolerant left. This week alone, my Newsmax colleague, Benny Johnson, was giving a speech on memes of all things at the University of Iowa. He was violently interrupted. That projector will never be the same. And a man allegedly kills a Republican teen running him over because of his politics. 42-year-old Shannon Brandt, arrested on criminal charges, but was released on liberal bond and bail policies. Ryan, we're being told by Joe Biden that America has basically the Republicans to fear, but all the violence I'm seeing out there is from left-wingers, from Democrats. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, because of Biden's demonic speech where he desecrated the birthplace of our freedom, now you're seeing the response for that. People are going out, assaulting, harassing, and even killing people because they support Donald Trump. And you want to know what really kills me about this, Chris, is from CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times. I looked on their websites. I've been watching some of their coverage. They do not mention this young 18-year-old Kayler Ellington's name. And you want to know what is even more depressing behind it all? Not even GOP leadership want to talk about this. Not even our own party want to call out Biden for the rhetoric that he has created in this country. It's disgusting. Political violence has no place in America. Whatever happened to a point where we can have debate and discussion because we have a political difference, it's absolutely, it breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart because Biden is most definitely responsible for this.
Need to get back to it. Ryan Fournier, thank you, man. Appreciate the time.